I'm working on a project. This is a Oklahoma State University quilt for someone. This is a pattern that I made up, putting OSU in here. Then I made up another little P2P pattern so that I could, this is a sash, and a sash here, and a cornerstone. Then there is something embroidered in this spot, so I left that unquilted, and another block over here. So I'm working right now on this area, and I've drawn a boundary. There's a sash right here. So what I think I'll do, and I don't use this very often, I have my P2P set on P2P line. I have the boundary drawn, so what I'm going to do is just place a P2P line in there and scroll over to that P2P icon. Okay, I have the P2P line in place. I'll select the line, go down and make sure that I have this pattern selected. Go over here, right click, apply pattern, and let Creative Studio do its thing. There it is, it's in there. Now I'm going to delete that line. If I don't, it's going to want to stitch. Don't want it to stitch. I will select these 3 repeats, and it's actually 4 repeats, and I will just increase the height of that a little bit just so it fills in that area, and this should work. So now I'll just stitch that out, and right now I'll pause my recording and stitch this out. Finished quilting the pattern in that sash. This next block is going to be interesting because it has a word in here, and I'll draw a boundary to show you where that word is. Okay, this pattern is a Lori Thomas pattern, and what I wanted was, I just wanted the word Oklahoma, so I divided the pattern and I took the word Oklahoma and saved it, and I'll show you in a minute what I'm going to do with that. I'll go back to my original quilt group, and I believe I can put that Oklahoma, I believe I can put that right in this area. So I have my needle in the upper left corner. I have this selected, repeat patterns, upper left corner, and I'll put that in there. I may need more than one to go across there, and it looks like I can use 2. So I'm going to just tell it I don't want 2 repeats, and if they're not connected, I will connect them. Okay, that looks like I'm going to be able to use that. I'll go and adjust it the way I want it to fit and see what happens here. Okay, I have this adjusted. There's 2 of these in there, and I will just quilt these out. It's going to tie on and tie off, and then tie on again and tie off, but that's okay. So I'll stitch those out, and then I'll figure out something to put here. Most likely, I will just place this OSU pattern right there. I'll place it right down in that area. Okay, I have that pattern selected, and then I will just go to repeat patterns and click OK. Just going to select it, move it, rotate it, and probably rotate it again like that so that it is in that position. Move it into place, and I believe that'll work. Now I'm just going to rubber stamp this since I have it on the screen. Escape, grab it, move it over here, and I may go ahead and rotate it like that. See how that works. Yeah, I think that'll work right there. And while I'm at it, I may just consider putting another pattern in here. I'm just playing right now, just experimenting, and I will see what this will do. I'm going to select this pattern. Like I said, that's Lori Thomas's pattern, and go to repeat patterns, click OK, and I think I'll just put that in this to fill this up in here. We'll just see what happens to this. I want it to fill out more here. I'll just go ahead and make it a little bigger. See, I think I can fill this whole thing up with this because I've adjusted it in several ways. I think I'll just quilt that right in there, just like that. I think that'll work. We'll see. Okay, I got this block all stitched out, and I think this worked very well down in this lower part of this. And I have the boundary in this sash, P2P line. I'll select the line. I hope I can select the line. I got it. And now I will apply pattern. Make sure I have the correct pattern selected. Right click, apply pattern. And there it is. All I need to do is make an adjustment, stitch that out, and then I will do this next block. I made a little bit of a change to my pattern. I made it 17.5 high and about 16 wide. We'll put that in and see how it fits. I have freeze aspect off so that I could set in the numbers here that I wanted. Go to repeat patterns, click OK, and see, I put that in there pretty good. So I may bring this down a little bit and this down a little bit. And I'm going to check something here. I think I'm going to try this other pattern in there. See how that works. Where is it? It's this one. I'm going to exit out of that. Get this one. Okay. Going to make this, turn off the aspect. Make this one 16. Okay. And I want this to be, I'll leave it at 17.89. I think 17 is going to be better. I'll delete that part. Okay, go again and see how this works out. And let me see here. I'm going to select it. Modified. I modified this pattern so that this was more even with this side. I'm going to go ahead and bring this down like that and call that good. All I have to do now is stitch it out. Okay, I have this OSU pattern in this sash. Now I'm going to quilt this little block, and you can see I do a crosshatch in there, 2x2 crosshatch. This pattern, I'll just go to repeat patterns. It's in the upper left corner. Click OK. It places it in there. And I could do this, and I have. Go to pattern to boundary. See what happens. See if it does it. It doesn't do it that much better. So I'll simply have to select that and just make it fit this block. Make it fit as well as I can. And that's it. So I have that in there. I'll stitch that out, then work the rest of this sash, and there's another cornerstone here and another sash right there. Okay, I have this boundary in this sash, then the boundary in this cornerstone, the boundary in the next sash. I have placed my P to P line in here. I'm going to select it. Make sure I have this pattern over here, the OSU. Right click, apply pattern. And while I have my line selected, I'm going to delete it. Now I'm going to go over and place this pattern. My foot is in the upper left corner. And I'm going to measure that to make sure what size that block is. It's almost a 3 by 3. So I'm going to go get my crosshatch, change it to the height is 3, and let it change that. Go to repeat patterns. Okay, and that's a little better. I'll have to adjust it a little bit and kind of get it over here. This this block's a little wonky, so I can just maybe I'll go ahead and let it just stitch outside of there. It's not going to make that much difference. I could use, I guess, the gray handles and adjust it, but I'm not going to. Then I'll go and put my P to P line in and put this pattern in place. Okay, I have this line selected, and again I'm going to get my OSU pattern, right click, apply pattern, just let it put it right in there, and delete the line. So now I'll go back. I'll have to adjust all of these, adjust each pattern. I know you say, well, that kind of skews it, but yes, it does. Okay, I have those all in place, ready to stitch. So I'll just stitch these out and I'll be finished with this. Okay, I finished everything in all of these sash and these cornerstones along the bottom edge of this row. And what I do before I shut down, I have to finish this quilt tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is, I have the needle sitting right at this point, right there. And what I like to do is go Tools, Set Origin, yes. So that's where the 0, 0 point is. And so when I start up, I'll place the needle right at this point. And when I get my box down here, and I'll click OK. And that will set my origin 0, 0 right at that point. And I'll be good to go to finish this quilt. That's just a little thing that I do before I shut down. I make sure that this point is the 0, 0, X and Y. And whenever I start up, I use that point to set my point of origin. I just like doing that. So I'll finish this tomorrow.